Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's your girl, Erica, and thanks for tuning in. I am going to review Married to Medicine Season 11, Episode 3. This particular episode is called Saddle Up Cowgirls. Um, I just wanted to say, I see what some of the YouTubers have to go through because this is my second time recording my review for episode 3. Let me just explain. Like I said to you before, I've said it in video 1 and video 2 of my reviews. I'm just starting this whole YouTube thing, starting to record, and I'm not set up the way I wanted it to be set up. If I had done that, I probably would have delayed it probably for another week, only because I'm back at work now, or I'm going back to work, and then what will happen is I know during the week I probably would not be able to devote my time to it. So I would have had to delay it for another week. So I just wanted to get started and to get something going. So that's why I did it. But again, I apologize. I am going to get it where it needs to be. Some of my other videos, if you notice, I was probably up close and personal. That is because I was trying to, I sort of zoomed in. I'm actually filming from my tablet, not from my phone, because with the ring light you can put your phone, there's a little holder for your phone. Well, anyway, it just so happens that because it's not set up, I'm actually using my tablet. So that is why everything seems to be a little off. Like sometimes I know the lighting in the room is okay for like normal everyday things, but when you're filming something, it's probably not. So I can kind of tell that, yeah, I need to definitely have better lighting so that you can see me. I want to be able to just sit back and relax, sit in my chair and relax and just really, kick back and talk to you guys. But during this process, I've been trying to kind of like sit maybe a little closer and then zoom in so that you can see me, or so that I can be clearer. I don't even know if you can see me now because I'm actually sitting back a little ways. I zoomed in some, but I am sitting back just a little bit so that I wouldn't be like in your face. Of course, I want you to see me clearly, but of course, I don't want to be all in the camera. So, but anyway, thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciated it. Of course, you didn't even care about that stuff, but I just wanted to let you know what was going on with me. So let's get this review started for the second time, but we're going to do it. This scene actually starts off, or I should say this episode starts off with Quad. Quad is in the kitchen cooking breakfast, and she gets a call from her man, King. And he calls her and tells her to come outside, and she's saying, well, hey, you have access to the house. Just come on in, use your key or whatever the case may be. He says, no, I want to show you something. You need to come out. Quad comes out, and she actually has a Rolls Royce sitting in her driveway. Quad didn't seem that surprised to me. I was happy for her, but Quad didn't seem that surprised to me. I don't know if she knew or she had a hint about it. I don't know if she already had the car and maybe they just used this as a scene. Or it could have just been that, everyone reacts differently to surprises. So it could have even been that. I don't know. But Qua was happy, but she didn't really seem surprised to me or super surprised to me. But anyway, it was a really nice scene nonetheless. King is in there, honey. Like, he already has a confessional with her. I thought that was really nice when he sort of walked into the confessional with her and Quad kind of grabbed his arm, and, she just seemed really giddy and like a little girl. So it was just really cute to see. And then they went back to Quad cooking. For her man. And she was telling him like, oh, you're going to get a Rolls Royce style breakfast this morning. So anyway, they were just discussing their relationship. I think they've been together for about a year, and they've done a lot of traveling, especially to Paris. I think they were talking about how they had gone to Paris about 3 times. And he also gave her some luggage, another piece of Louis Vuitton luggage. And, yeah, so it looks like they're on the fast track and on the right track. Of course, we don't know a lot about him. I'm sure we will get to know him a lot better as the season goes along. But so far, so good. Quad seems to be happy, and that's the most important thing. We don't know enough about him to make any judgment or any assessment about him. So if Quad's happy, we're going to be happy, and we're just going to just take this ride with her, on this journey with her as she just actually enjoys her new relationship. So that was that. And then we actually move on to the next scene, which is Dr. Eugene. And I think I mentioned this in like my first or second video. I was actually thinking about this particular scene in episode 1. For some reason, I don't know why, but of course I had seen all of the episodes, but for some reason, this particular scene with Dr. Eugene, I don't know why I thought it was in the first video, but I think I corrected myself. I caught myself in the first review, and then I mentioned it again in the second review that, I wanted to make sure that I was being, making sure that I was sort of going with the scenes of the show and not just on my own. But anyway, Dr. Eugene has his own little practice now. It's not alternative medicine or anything, but he's doing something other than emergency medicine. I know he mentioned something about like weight loss and hormone replacement therapy. And let me just say this first. I'll say a couple of things. I have a soft spot for Dr. Eugene because Dr. Eugene is a DC native. He grew up in DC, and I think he moved away when he was like a young child or like a teenager. Then he moved to Maryland, and that happens sometimes. And then he also went to Howard. I think Dr. Eugene and I are actually the same age. I think we were at Howard at the same time, of course, 2 different majors, but I just have a little soft spot for Eugene, all because he's my DMV and also my Bison brother. So anyway, shouts out to Eugene, Dr. Eugene. But anyway, even with what he's doing, I think is a really good thing. Eugene looks really, really good. He's lost some weight and he looks good. He slimmed out some and he looks good. He was talking about even the hormone thing, and I was even kind of looking into that because I think I mentioned in my last video, my second video, I was talking about fibroids and endometriosis, and I had to have a hysterectomy. Well, once you have a hysterectomy, oftentimes, most women that have had that will kind of discuss, some of them, you tend to gain weight. And so with that being said, when you gain weight, it's kind of like, oh my God, like I certainly have gained a lot of weight from when I had the surgery years ago. I was not this size when I had the surgery years ago. And so it is something that you want to think about it. I have looked into hormone replacement therapy. Of course, they have the services here, and I've spoken to my doctor about it, but it would be good because I do want to lose some weight. I do want to actually at least get back down to the size that I was before I had the actual surgery. But anyway, even with that, I'm just saying, these are the services that he offers. And I think it's a really, really, really good thing. I know, but I need to do some research on the HRT because they said it's dangerous. I have spoken with my doctor, and I know they do have some side effects to that, but I need to find out like what else can we do, because when you go through those hormonal changes and weight gain is a part of it, that's just not something that most people want to deal with. You can deal with some side effects, but yeah, I definitely want to come back down to where I was. So anyway, but that's another subject. I'm just actually sharing this because, I'm going to try to share, a little bit of myself as well, when I'm doing the reviews, just sort of talk about things like again, I spoke about the fibroids and the hysterectomy and all of those things. So I'm just trying to share a little bit of myself. But anyway, nonetheless, Dr. Eugene is doing well. Toya comes to the office and she brings Avery. Avery is a teenager, and it's so good to see Avery now as a teenager. I remember Avery when he was a little boy. He was like mischievous too. Avery was like always the one getting in trouble a little bit. But anyway, he was so cute. I remember there was a scene, I think in like season 3, or it was some time ago. It was like season 3, I think. Season 3 or even maybe 4, where Avery was a little boy and Toya was making a cake for Dr. Eugene. And he was like, oh, mommy, be careful. I don't want you to burn yourself. And I remember that scene with him so well because it was just the cutest thing ever. And now to see him as a teenager is just really sweet. It's really like heartwarming because you look at these kids and you saw them when they were like babies, and now they're getting older and you think to yourself, oh my God, they are really becoming like little adult or young adults, or these people that will now, they'll be growing beards and they'll have facial hair and deep voices and stuff like that. So it's really cute. But anyway, Toya was talking to you, Dr. Eugene, about some of the other services that he needs to have. And I was like, Toya, let it go. Girl, Dr. Eugene, he got this. And Dr. Eugene seems like the type of man that doesn't mind. He values Toya's opinion. He will listen to her and even take it into consideration. But at the same time, Dr. Eugene is the medical expert and he knows exactly what he needs to have a successful business. I think sometimes Toya needs to pull back some. When Toya has a project, Eugene doesn't really get involved that much, or we don't see him getting involved. So I think Toya needs to kind of do the same thing and kind of step back a little bit and just let Eugene have this and say, baby, just go for it. I got your back. Whatever you need, I'm going to support you. But hey, you're the man. And hey, that's it. And move on. Stick to the wine, Toya. Stick to the wine. And we'll leave it there. The next scene that we have, of course, like I said, this episode wasn't really, there wasn't a lot going on. Probably some people were saying that it was kind of boring, but for me, I can get through it. It's definitely something that I can watch. It wasn't super exciting, but it wasn't boring to the point where I could not watch it. So the next thing we have is Cecil and Dr. Simone. They're cleaning up Miles and Michael's apartment. Let's just have a moment. Okay. Let's just say this. Miles and Michael's apartment was horrible. It was actually trifling. To see that apartment the way it was, I was just baffled. Like, the thing about it is they had this really nice apartment. It is theirs. They don't have to pay anything. And we could go all day long about them not being grateful for it. But the point of the matter is that they're not going to move. They're not going to move unless, they actually leave the apartment on their own. If they were to relocate or perhaps get married or, move somewhere else, then they would probably do that. But they're not going to move. So in order for Dr. Simone and Cecil to protect their investment, they need to just hire someone to clean up, because Miles and Michael are not even interested in cleaning up. That is not on their to-do list at all. They are all about the turn up. They are all about having fun. They are all worried about just being lit and enjoying life. They have nothing to worry about. They are living their best life. I don't know how they're doing it in all that filth, but they are. It wasn't even about like dirty clothes or shoes on the floor. It was just the food. It was everywhere. Like, oh my God, I can just imagine, like Simone said, how that apartment smelled. It was disgusting. And what can we say? Dr. Simone and Cecil probably instilled some really good things into their kids, but cleaning was just not one of them. And it's not all boys, or it's not always the young men who are like that. There are some young girls or some young ladies who are not as clean and tidy either. So it can happen. Sometimes the roles are reversed. People think that it's the girls who are clean and the men who are, or the boys that are not. Sometimes the boys are clean and the little girls aren't. But either way, they need to do a better job. They need to show some type of appreciation. And if they can't pay their parents back financially, the least they can do is make sure that their apartment stays clean, neat and clean. I mean, my God. I don't even want to talk about it. So we'll just leave it there. The point of the matter is Simone and Cecil, protect your investment. Just have someone to come in every week, every 2 weeks. They really need it every week, but at least every 2 weeks to clean up. Now, this is the first time that I brought my phone in while I was recording. And here it is ringing. Oh my God. I apologize about that, because I've been making sure that I left my phone in another room so that it wouldn't do that. But anyway, yeah, they need to just go ahead and protect that investment, and we'll go on from there. The next scene is Phaedra goes to Contessa's house. And of course, they're just discussing some things that are going on in the group, and where Tess kind of fares out with Dr. Heavenly. Phaedra kind of knows, what's going on. She's being informed about what's going on, but Phaedra needs to say a lot more. I think we have been waiting for Phaedra to really get active and get involved. I don't mean activated, because she's not going to do that, but just give us a little bit more. Say a little more than maybe like 2 or 3 words in the conversation. But nonetheless, they're waiting for Sweet Tea to come by. As soon as Sweet Tea came in, Phaedra, in true Phaedra Parks fashion, she had a read. She didn't have anything else to contribute to the conversation, but she had a little read. Well, not even a read. She just threw some shade at Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea had on like a little romper, and it was like a little 70s print on it. And Phaedra said, "Oh my God, okay, I see you." Ooh. Phaedra didn't like it at all. Phaedra said, "Okay, Walona, Phaedra." Yeah, Phaedra was saying, "Girl, I would never wear that. I would not even put that on my enemy. This romper is ugly." And, for most people know, Walona was on Good Times, and that was a sitcom, or that was a show in the 70s. So for Phaedra to even bring up Walona, and there's a possibility that Sweet Tea may not even know who Walona is. I'm sure she does, but there was a possibility that she didn't even know who Walona was. It was kind of like, okay, Phaedra, you throw all kinds of shade in it, and you don't like it. But anyway, I don't even think Sweet Tea caught it or looked at it that way. I think she looks at Phaedra like a big sister, and she's just glad to kind of have some support in the group from Tess and from Phaedra. So she didn't really care too much about that. But anyway, they went on to talk about just everything that's going on with the ladies. Heavenly has an issue. Contessa and Heavenly still have a little beef. Of course, there's some issues with Quad in the group. Simone and Quad, the other ladies kind of have some little tension there with them. Sweet Tea, excuse me, and Heavenly have a beef. And so they were just saying that maybe it would be great for them to take a trip together. Of course, this probably wouldn't even be their first choice, but of course, they're working on the show and production tells them where they're going. So they said, well, maybe it would be good for us to go camping or glamping or something like that. We could go to like a dude ranch or something like that. So they decided that that's what they were going to do. And they were all going to host the trip, together. And then they would actually, of course, put it together. So we go on to see the ladies actually getting their invitations and looking at all the little miscellaneous things in the box that, would basically support what they're going to do on the trip, or give them a clue as to where they're going. So you see Toya with her box. You see Dr. Jackie, Quad with their box. Simone is loving her red scarf or her bandana. And Dr. Heavenly was talking to Alora. She was even a little scared to open it up because she didn't know what was going to pop out of the actual box. But it was really cute. They set it up really, really nice for them. So, of course, we see them as time goes on. Everyone's sort of getting ready for the trip. We see a cute scene with Zach and Dr. Heavenly. Zach is actually interning with Dr. Heavenly at the dental office. And he seemed to have been a little nervous with, Heavenly's patient. Of course, Heavenly is a consummate professional, so she wanted Zach to be up to her standards. And Zach was a little nervous. You could tell that. But he was working and he was trying to get things done nonetheless. It was so cute because he kept calling Heavenly Mommy and she kept saying, "No, I'm Dr. Kimes, we're here at work, it's Dr. Kimes," but he kept saying Mommy. And it was really, really endearing to see that. But it was okay. The thing about it is Heavenly has to be proud of him. Hey, this guy is not only, he's graduated from college. I think Zach was also getting into real estate at one point, and now he's following in his mother's footsteps to become a dentist. So that has to be like the cherry on top. I think most parents are always proud of their children, but when they follow in your footsteps, that has to be like very touching, to you, that they want to follow you. So that was a cute scene. And after that, I think we go back to Phaedra, and we see Phaedra. She met with Apollo. She was telling Apollo that she's going out of town, and this is where we see Phaedra being like a mama bear. Phaedra is very rarely shows any emotion or anything, but you could just tell she has a big heart when it comes to her children. She's always concerned about them. She wanted to make sure they had everything. She wanted to make sure that they were going to be okay. Phaedra probably almost did not want to go on this trip because she was too worried about the boys, and they were going with their father. During that conversation, Apollo told Phaedra that he had seen Toya, and she was sort of questioning him and just asking him some questions. I wasn't worried about that because that's how Toya is. But Apollo's cool. Apollo can handle it. Apollo is not afraid of anything or anybody. Whatever question you ask, Apollo will give you an answer. So with him seeing Toya, hey, Apollo's down for this TV thing. So even if he had to do a scene with Toya, it would be okay. Apollo would not mind. But he was just letting Phaedra know that she was asking some questions. So that was it. Phaedra was kind of telling him she had to prepare to go. Sweet Tea and Dr. G had a very serious conversation. Sweet Tea was on the phone with her twin sister. And then Dr. G came and sat down at the table, and they were talking. And Sweet Tea was they were kind of talking about, she was sort of telling Dr. G some things that she had been experiencing lately. Although she's had the surgery, she's still experiencing some pain and some different things like that. And so Dr. G was kind of telling Sweet Tea, hey, I think we need to get serious and really discuss this baby thing and, sort of set a timeline for us to have this baby. Because like he said, he's getting older. He's looking at his situation. Dr. G is in his middle to late 50s, and this would be his first time being a father. So, he's concerned about that, and rightfully so. And Sweet Tea is also concerned about wanting to deliver and give this baby to Dr. G before this time frame ends. She was actually very emotional when he was talking to her. He did offer a solution and say that they could explore other options. He said, how bad do you really want the baby? Because we could also, there's the option to adopt. There's also surrogacy and different things like that. But I think Sweet Tea really wants to give birth to her and carry her own child. And I understand that. Like I said, I've shared with you, and I think my review of episode number 2, that I also have dealt with the fibroids and the endometriosis, and mine ultimately ended in 2 miscarriages, not being able to have children. And I actually had a hysterectomy about 4 years ago. I held out as long as I could, but then I had to have the hysterectomy. And so I understand how she feels. Sweet Tea wants to deliver this baby. I think it's weighing on her heavily that she cannot have kids, or she's not getting pregnant. It's not that she can't. She's always going to try to be optimistic, but she is struggling with the fact that she's having issues getting pregnant, and now she really feels the pressure because Dr. G has now put a time limit on it. So now she's thinking, my body is sort of betraying me, and now my husband's saying in the next year or 2 he's going to give up the idea of having a kid. Now that's when it could actually happen. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes when you sort of put yourself to the side, things happen. So it could potentially happen that way. But I think just as a human and as a woman, she's struggling with trying to really get this done. She does not want to not give him a baby. I really genuinely believe that Sweet Tea loves Dr. G and that she wants to give him a child. I really believe that she wants to become a mom. And so she's really, really hurt by this. You can kind of tell she's probably in that why me stage of her life, because she is in her 30s. She's kind of struggling somewhat with infertility, and it's bugging her. And I can understand that because I've been there and I know what that feels like. And a lot of women have been there and they know exactly what that feels like. But again, what will be, will be. if it's meant for T and Dr. G to have the baby, they will have the baby. I really hope. But the conversation that they had was really good because as a married couple, those are things that you have to discuss. Those are things that affect your daily life. And so you can't hide behind your situations. You can't just sweep it under the rug and not talk about it. You have to deal with it. And I think he did a good job of like saying, look, let's tackle this thing head on. Let's be honest about what it is and let's not get in over our heads. Because I think he's sort of at that place of almost giving up, and she doesn't want him to give up. And she certainly doesn't want to give up even for herself. But the conversation needed to be had, and they had that conversation. So that was really good. And those are the moments that we need to see also on reality TV. We love the drama and we love all the little things that happen and sometimes the arguments and stuff like that. But again, those are the real things that we need to see. That is reality. That is what it really is. So that was good. But then we go on and we see the ladies prepare for the trip, and they're coming to they're arriving at the airport, and we're seeing everybody dragging their bags in, and so it was just that type of thing. And Contessa was sort of talking to the ladies as they came in and just asking them little questions. And we even saw when they were on the plane and Toya and Quad were sitting next to each other, which is good because they were really battling. Like I didn't think they would be able to come back from season 9. So it was good to see them sitting next to each other. And it was funny when Dr. Jackie told Toya, oh yeah, I was going to wear that outfit. And Toya said, oh, that would have been so cute. We would have been like mommy and daughter. And Quad wanted to fall out. Quad really wanted to laugh. Quad wanted to laugh about what Toya said to Jackie. And because Toya kind of like let Jackie know, like, okay, girl, yeah, you're old enough to be my mom. But it was like light shade. That was fun. That it was nothing to be taken personally or anything like that. It was really, really just all in fun. So the girls arrived there. Of course, Simone is like, we don't know when this show is getting ready to start. And so they get in separate cars. And so they're talking about perhaps how it's going to go. Sweet Tea was optimistic. She was kind of saying she thinks that the girls are going to have a good time. Toya, Quad, Heavenly, and Jackie were in the other car. And, Jackie was saying, well, let me pray. And so Toya said, yeah, go ahead on and pray. Well, Dr. Jackie prayed. She really did. But I don't know, somewhere, somehow, that prayer, like, as soon as they stepped out of the car, honey, that prayer just fell to the ground because they went ham on this girls trip. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we finally get there, because this is what we've been all waiting to get to. In the main premiere, I think I said before, in the main premiere, we saw this coming and we knew that they were on this trip. So we're almost about there as to where, we saw the whole Heavenly and Contessa exchange. So it's getting there, folks. Please, please, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. I would really appreciate that. Like I said, there wasn't a whole lot going on in this episode, but I really wanted to just still do my due diligence and still talk about it. Like I said, this is like my first time filming, so I know that I'm kind of behind. Most people have already put their Married to Medicine videos out, but hey, it's just a new perspective. Maybe, like I said, I will say something that will make you think or, sort of make you say, well, no, Erica, I don't agree with that. So that's okay. But anyway, please, again, like I said, just enjoy my videos. Like I said, leave me a comment. Say hello. I would really even appreciate that. Just say, hey, girl. And that would be good. But again, I will see you next time. Have a great day. Love, love, love. Bye.